So maybe just for those who only speak English, I just introduced the two of you. Gyandev, you as one of the founding members, so the early members of Ananda, and as the most important proponent, you might say, of Ananda Yoga, and the two of you not only teaching together for many, many years now, but also being a married couple for many, many years now. And I told our participants that we have a little focus on creativity, and that is why we asked you a question that I find very interesting. How about creativity in relationships? And we are very curious what you'll have to tell about that.
Oh, guten Abend, Freunde. It's a joy for us to be here. Our thanks to Ananda Deutschland for inviting us. And we have a very big topic that we've taken on, the creative aspect of working to perfect our relationships, especially our love relationships, our intimate relationships. So in a moment, Diksha will give you a little bit of background on our relationship, and then she'll hand it back to me. And I will share a general perspective on love relationships on the spiritual path, and a very important element of creativity in that. And then Diksha will share some specific points about that, and some stories that I think you'll also find entertaining. So with that, I'll hand it over to Diksha, and she can tell us something.
Hello, everyone. It's a joy for us to be with you from the other side of the world. A little bit about us. I came to America in 1990, and I found Ananda in California, in the Bay Area, in Palo Alto. And there I found Ananda, and I started going there. I lived there for 3 years, and then I moved to Ananda Village in January of 1993. I started serving at the Expanding Light Retreat, where Gyandev was the manager there. And I served there. And in 1996, we started to date. We dated for about a year, and we got married in 1997. So we've been married happily for 26 years. We do most things together, not only living together, serving, eating, shopping, having fun. So I will share stories, mistakes I've made, and points of how we can have a healthy, harmonious relationship that lasts.
So I'll now share some general observations about the love relationships for the devotee, for the person on the spiritual path. Because for a devotee, their love relationship is not the goal. Knowing God is the goal. But when we first start in a relationship, it seems like the relationship expands to fill our entire life. And that's natural. But after a while, the passionate stage calms down. Sorry, Diksha. And we're able to see that, the relationship is only a part of our life, but it's a very big part. And it needs to be managed with awareness, with creativity, so that it can contribute to our spiritual life, even as our spiritual life contributes to the relationship. Both of them should feed each other. They can feed each other. if we do them well. Now, the main quality I wanted to talk about, sort of an overarching principle in love relationships on the spiritual path, is the quality of expansiveness, which can sound very philosophical, but I want to make it very practical because it is a very, very practical thing. And in the Ananda wedding vow that the two people take together, each one of them takes it separately, one after the other. At the very end, it says this: may our love grow ever deeper, purer, more expansive, until in our perfected love, we find the perfect love of God. Now, there are a couple of important pieces of that, many important pieces, but I want to focus on two pieces. First, our perfected love. Yogananda said something very interesting. He said that we cannot know the love of God until we've perfected our love for at least one other person. That we need to perfect our love here on this plane in order to know the love of God. And what is perfected love? It really comes down to unconditional love. I've always been struck by something that Swami Kriyananda, Ananda's founder, said, speaking of other people. In fact, speaking of at least one time that I heard it, he was speaking of other people who were antagonistic toward him. And he said, nothing they do can affect how I feel about them. Nothing they do can affect how I feel about them. What he was saying is that he had found love for everyone, unconditional love for everyone, and he would not allow other people's behavior to shake him from that course. Very, very powerful statement. We may not be there yet. I'm not there yet. I can think of people who can say things that would affect how I feel about them. But it's a direction for all of us. And to get there, this quality of expansion is a wonderful opportunity for creativity in our relationships. To how can not just expand the relationship, how can I expand myself? Because this is the fundamental project of the spiritual path, is to expand ourselves. We begin in ego consciousness. Yogananda defined ego consciousness as the soul identified with the body and personality. The soul identified with the body and personality. And the goal, of course, is oneness with God, which is the soul identified with all that exists. To get there, we have to expand our sense of who we are, essentially expand our ego. We don't kill the ego. You can't kill your sense of who you are. You will always have a sense of existence, but we need to expand it. And the question is, how can we expand it? You know, expansion was one of the first principles, practical principles, that I came across on the spiritual path. And I remember once, this did not relate to relationships, except through a relationship among a large group of people. When I first moved to Ananda Village, one of the first issues that came up for the community was around the school that we have here. And we never did make much money. But back when I came, we made even less. And we have a private school here, and parents had to pay tuition for their children. And at the amount of money that Ananda was able to pay, that was very difficult. So we had a community meeting about what to do. How can we have a school? Can we have these families here in the community? What do we do? And of course, the families wanted help. The people who did not have families didn't feel it was their responsibility to pay for tuition for other students. What to do? And as we talked about it, we came upon a very important principle of expansion. One of the real creative things that I've come across in many years on the spiritual path, something that Swami Kriyananda often emphasized. The whole group of people together came to realize that the important question was not, what do I want? What do they want? The question was, what is trying to happen here? Or to put it a different way, what is God's will in this situation? What is God trying to bring into this world? And we realized that, well, God is trying to bring a community into this world. Communities have schools, or else they're not real communities. We all need to go together to make this happen, to make the school happen, to make the community happen. And it was a beautiful example for me of, you might say, creative expansion, broadening everyone's perspective so that we can find the answer. Because that's what creativity is. Creativity is not doing something that has never been done before. Creativity is doing just the right thing for this moment, for this place, for these people. That's creativity. And even if the same thing has been done over and over and over many times before, still doing it now might be the creative answer to the situation at hand. Now, the beautiful thing about that experience, but about any experience in which we're able to let go of the confinement of ego consciousness, is that it's not a philosophical point. We can feel it. We feel expansion. And where do we feel expansion? We feel it in the heart. The heart, as if we have layers, shells around it. When we expand, we start to break a shell, to allow the heart to expand. And I've always valued that so much because I need to feel. When I have a feeling, and I don't mean an emotion, I mean just that feeling of expansion, I know I'm going in the right direction. And when I have the feeling of more tightness in the heart, I know I'm going in the wrong direction. I'm contracting. So this whole idea of expansion and contraction is a doorway for creative solutions that come up. Because issues do come up in our relationships, issues that need to be resolved. You want one thing, your partner wants another thing. How to come to the creative answer? It always comes down to our ability to expand ourselves. Now, we cannot force someone else to expand. The job of expansion is our own individual task. And the beautiful thing about applying this principle in relationships is that, you see, sometimes expansion is difficult to do. I don't want to let go of my opinion. I don't want to let go of what I want to do. But what makes it a little bit easier, and sometimes a lot easier in relationships, is that the person you are with is someone you love. And even though it may be challenging to expand, to let go of your opinion, if you think of your love for the other person, it enables you to expand. It enables you to open up to the creative solution in this moment, which might just be what you need to do. It might have nothing to do with the other person. It's your creative solution to what is happening right now. When you open up to it by letting go of what you think needs to happen, of what has always happened in the past, of what you want to happen in the future, letting go of those things, allowing your heart to expand so that you can be open to the solution for this moment. And the more you practice this creative expansion in your relationship, the better you will become at expansion, but also the stronger the relationship becomes. And I want to emphasize practicing it in the relationship, because I'm sure you know people who practice expansion outside of the relationship, in their job, with their friends, with their hobbies, their projects. They're very expansive outside of a relationship, but they're not expansive in the relationship. And that is a danger sign for a relationship, to bring that expansive quality into it. And the beautiful thing, one of the many beautiful things about relationships, about love relationships, is they give us many, many, many opportunities to practice expansion, to practice removing the shells that confine our hearts, so that we can, if not experience perfect love yet, experience bigger love, experience love that is no longer so closely attached to what I want, what I need, but you bring it into a partnership in the most creative way. And when we do that, we feel the joy, we feel the love, and we feel that connection with the other person. So now I'm going to turn it over to Diksha. We'll have some time for questions at the end of this. I'm going to turn it over to Diksha, who will share some examples, some very normal situations that come up in a love relationship, and what can make space for the creative solution to come in. And I hope that you'll see, as she goes through these examples, the common thread of expansiveness that comes into these solutions.
So I will share with you now a PowerPoint, and we'll start by sharing some photos.
You want to share the screen?
Yeah. So this is when we got married in Crystal Hermitage in Ananda, where Swami lived. On the left, Jyotish and Devi conducted the marriage. And this was a fire ceremony. And on the right, this is the married couple. This is 15 years later. I was doing cooking shows in my kitchen, and I cooked one Valentine meal for Gyandev, and he joined us at the end. I made his favorite dessert, apple cake with whipping cream. And this is about a year ago. We are still happily married. So the next, we start with personal responsibility. Most important is every individual responsible for their own happiness. Nobody can give you happiness. This you have to find within yourself. We don't expect that from the partner. If you do, it will create problems. I will make the effort to be happy. This is very important. When we got married, I was in my late 30s. Gyandev was in his mid-40s. We were independent. We were contented and happy within ourselves. When we married, we wanted to share that happiness. The foundation is friendship, courtesy, and respect. As you can see, it's not love, because human love fluctuates. But the courtesy and the respect can always remain, even if we go up and down emotionally. Encouragement, loyalty, and being sensitive. I'd like to share with you a little story now. So go back. We can stop sharing for a moment.
Okay.
When Gyandev and I started dating, people are very sensitive at that stage. And we met once. He came to my place where I lived at Ananda, and we talked. And he said something that really hurt me. But I didn't say anything. After he left, I started nursing my hurt feelings, and all my emotions got stirred up. So next time we met, I was making dinner. Even though it was almost 27 years ago, I still remember that. He walked in, very cheerfully greeted me. I was very cold and reserved. He said, "What happened?" He said, "Everything is okay?" I said, "Yes." He could feel it. He said, "Why don't you sit down? Tell me what's wrong." I remember to this day, I sat down, I closed my eyes. I was so emotional. I took deep breaths, and inwardly I said to myself, do not say anything that will hurt him, that will ruin the relationship. I waited. I took deep breaths until I calmed down, and then I said, "When you said so-and-so," I don't remember what he said. I felt very hurt. I didn't blame him. I gave him a room to explain. He explained. I completely misunderstood, and I let go. But this incident was the foundation of our marriage. Not blame, not assume that you know. Communicate, talk, understand. Okay, now we go to the next one.
I'll just add to that from the standpoint of creativity in a relationship. all the things that Diksha was just talking about, the blame, the assumptions, all of it shuts out creativity. They're contractive rather than expansive. It's really important to keep in mind that it's not always about love itself. It's about what comes around the perimeter of love that can open us to creative solutions or close us.
Okay. The next point is focus on giving, not on receiving. This might be a new concept for some people. Marriage is not find fulfillment in the other person, but it's about serving. How can I serve? How can I contribute? Not a counted mind. What does my partner owe me? This is very, very important. Let me look for the story I wanted to share here. Okay, keep going. Yes. The next one is not becoming too familiar or indifferent. I know you. Always give space for growth and for change. Allow space to be alone. Remember, love grows when we give space, enjoying silence together. Our marriage, we are so together. We live in a small apartment, but we learned we can be all day at home together. We can be in silence. Only when we eat, we can talk. But we give room. And once a year, 1 week, Gyandev goes another place for seclusion to be only with God. And then 1 week I go, and that gives us room to recharge, to see the bigger perspective, and to recharge and renew the love and the friendship. Be realistic. You cannot be everything to the other person. That's why we have friends. Bring out the best in your partner. And when there is misunderstanding, how can I improve? Instead of looking at how my partner disappoints me. So now I will share with you a story, and we can. After we were married for 1 year, I sat Gyandev down. He didn't really want to do it. And I said, I want to talk about how was the year? How can we each other can improve? Please bring your list. He didn't have any list. I brought my list. It wasn't a lot, but I went over with my list of things I want him to do better.
It was a lot.
I asked him, now you share. He said, only one thing. I want you to smile more. I was surprised. I said, that's all? He said, yeah. He didn't give me a choice. So I took it to meditation. And I tried to feel what was behind that. What did he try to tell me? It didn't take long. I used to be a little bit less now. Very serious, very goal-oriented, always focused on the to-do list, very responsible. When he would come home, I didn't smile. I immediately went into what we need to do. We need to make dinner. We need to energize, meditate, eat. check the emails. He didn't marry a loving wife, I realized. He married a general. I realized when I smile, I'm more relaxed. It creates a better atmosphere. So I start working with that. It didn't happen right away, but I'm doing better.
I don't know how aware Diksha is of how much better she does, but I can tell you she does a lot better. Now, she smiles a lot, and it's so, I think she doesn't even know she's doing it anymore, but I notice it. I see
Thank you.
it. And it, all of these things she's talking about, if you look at their opposites, they're the things that keep us small, that keep us contracted, that keep us not open to the creative moment, the creative possibility that there is in the moment for the relationship. It's not necessarily going to go to some incredible place, but just to enjoy beauty, to enjoy harmony in little ways, but those little ways all add up. But they only come if we're open to them. They only come if we are willing to be expansive.
Okay, the next point is comfort zone. Women's comfort zone is feeling, emotions, men, reason, intellect. But Yogananda talked about balance. We need to balance both. Women should help men bring the feeling. Men should help women bring the reason. So marriage can be a support and a help for each other to become a whole. Know your role. We're not meant to fix, not to teach, to accept, to encourage, to support, to focus on their higher potential. I think that, and most important, to love them. Okay, I will share a story. This is a mistake I made. I don't know why, but I heard this happen to women. When we got married, I thought that was my role, is to tell them what to do, to tell them how to dress, and to mold him according to my likes and dislikes. I cannot believe I did that. I did. So when I started to tell him what to do, and especially wear this, don't wear this, do this, don't do this, being very kind, very wise, he gently but firmly said to me, you know, if I want your opinion, I will ask you. But if I don't, I will ask you not to tell me what to do. I backed off. I took it to meditation, and I realized that this was wrong, what I was doing. That I'm supposed to tune into his soul. Who he is. Who is he trying to become? And help him to become the best he can be. This is not about me. This is not about what I like or I don't like. He is a child of God. I need to help him the best of my ability. And the beautiful thing that happened when I stepped back and I stopped trying to tell him what to do, he relaxed and he started asking me for my opinion. And it was a wonderful exchange.
She didn't share with you one of the fun episodes in that little exchange that we would have frequently. And a comment of mine, I said to her once after she had told me, I've forgotten what it was, do this or don't do that, or wear this. I said, I really don't know how I managed to survive all these years without you. Okay, more sharing.
Okay, this is a beautiful vow that we take in marriage, and Gandhi will read it.
Yes, this is during the Ananda marriage ceremony, and each person affirms this, takes this vow. I will respect your right to see truth as you perceive it, and to be guided as you feel deeply within yourself. I will never compete with you. I will cooperate for our own and for all others' highest good. I will forgive you always and under all circumstances. And I will work with you always in freedom to arrive at a common understanding. All that we do, may we do for God's glory.
Very, very beautiful. I would like to share with you two more stories that were told to me by two women. The first one is when there is a conflict, how to resolve it creatively and gracefully. One woman shared with me that she and her husband went through a period of disharmony, and she didn't want to talk about it. And she prayed, and she came up with something creative. She decided to make a nice meal for him. It was winter, and so she was at home, and when he came home, he opened the door, and the smells of wonderful meal filled him. The table was set. There were flowers. There were candles. She wrote him a very sweet note card. When he saw all of that, it melted his heart, and the disharmony dissolved. Another woman, this is a story of how we can shift from human love to divine love. This woman was married 10 years. Her husband was a doctor. After 10 years, he was going through very challenging time at work. And he started to drink. She was horrified. She tried to talk to him. He wouldn't listen, and he would not stop drinking. So she started to pray, God, please help my husband stop drinking. And she prayed intensely, day after day for 2 weeks. Nothing happened. She thought to herself, well, maybe God is fine with my husband drinking. She changed her prayer. God, please help my husband to be happy. Intensely prayed. In less than 1 week, her husband went to seek help, and he stopped drinking. She realized the first prayer was about what she wanted. The second prayer was for his highest good. Beautiful. So I have one more thing to share with you. And that is, how can we yield and create bridges when there's disharmony? First, simple thing you can do without saying anything. Form your spiritual light, the point between the eyebrows. Send a rainbow of light to your partner. Try it. We don't always need to talk about things. Sometimes it's better not to talk. Send a rainbow of light. To create bridges, I'm going to guide you now through a visualization that you can do. The best is to use this visualization after you meditated. But for now, sit upright, close your eyes, lift your gaze, and we'll take just a few deep breaths. Inhale through your nose deeply, and exhale. Relax. Twice more. Inhale and exhale. Again, inhale and exhale. Bring your awareness to your heart. Visualize a ball of light at the center of your heart and begin to expand that light to fill your heart, to fill your whole body. Your whole body is filled with white light, pure light. And gradually that light expands beyond your body. And as the light expands beyond the body, embrace your partner in that light, surrounding them in that white light. Infuse them with the light. Every cell of the body, every thought, every emotion, both of you are held in that light. Both of your auras are merged together. If there is any disharmony, the light dissolves it, and you're together in this pure light of love and harmony. And now, let go of the visual and just sit quietly. You can do that anytime. At the end of your meditation, anytime you need to dissolve this harmony, and you'll be surprised how powerful higher consciousness, divine light is. Take a breath in and out. Open your eyes.
So as we've been talking about these various points, I hope you've seen that when you talk about creativity in a love relationship, it's not about the stroke of genius. It's not about doing something that's never been done before. Often when we hear the word creativity, we think in those terms. Something that is like a great flash from the infinite. But just to come back to what I said earlier, the true creativity in any endeavor, not just relationships, but in anything, is doing what's right for now. It's tuning into what can happen here. What is God wanting to have happen here? And often the only thing that God is wanting is for us to open our hearts a bit more, to let go of layers of contractiveness, and to let the heart expand. And as I said earlier, and I want to repeat it now, it's so beautiful that when we expand, we feel it. It's not even some deep intuition. It is obvious. We feel it right in the heart. And when we contract, we feel that in the heart as well. And I know you know these feelings very well. But sometimes if we just begin to pay more attention to the inclination to expand or contract, and decide in the moment, what am I going to do? What this will do for your relationships is a beautiful thing. It relaxes the relationships. It brings more joy into the relationship, and it brings more joy to the individuals as well. So before we open up to questions, I just wanted to share a couple things with you. One of them is that, as Diksha mentioned, we teach a lot, mainly online courses. And I just wanted to share with you the URL where you can find the courses that we teach. We just now started one on the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, a 6-week online course. And I also wanted to offer you a handout on expansiveness versus contraction. And here's a URL that you can download it, or you can simply email me, and I will be happy to send it to you. I'll also send it to the organizers of Ananda Deutschland, and they can share that as appropriate as well. So we would like to open up to any questions you may have. If you'd like to click the raise your hand icon.
There's actually a question. Hello,
There is a question.
Okay.
There's a question here in the room.
Okay.
Here in the room where we are. So I have a question. What would you suggest, or have any tips or tricks? What do you do when there is a conflict or something is coming up and it's something that is already quite deep, something where you don't just need to jump over your own shadow, but something that is, more deeply rooted? How can you get out of this and find a creative solution?
Go ahead, Diksha.
Well, when there are deep issues that a person faces, sometimes it's better to go to counseling, to seek help somewhere else. Swami said many times, Swami Kriyananda, that our role in the marriage is to love one another. Our role is not to teach, not to counsel. We are too close. When two people are too close to each other, it's hard to see the bigger picture. So you can share with your partner what you're going through, but don't expect them to solve it for you. But instead, tell them, I'm thinking for maybe going for counseling. Are you okay with that? Just together come up with something that you can do that will help you. But don't put the weight of the issue on your partner.
And if it's, if going for counseling seems like too big, it seems like pressing the emergency button. If you need to feel like the two of you need to work it out yourselves, fine. But first, find a place of calmness. If that takes 5 minutes, an hour, a week, find a place of calmness so that you can come back to this with a greater sense of relaxation. And in that interim, try to expand your heart toward your partner, to not feel shut in by what you want or what your partner did or any of that. Try to keep the heart open, because that's when the solutions can come. That's when the creativity can come, when there's relaxation. And sometimes it's not easy. We know that. But with tension, with confrontation, it's going to be very hard for an answer to appear. Try to find a place of relaxation. Good question. Thank you so much for asking.
Yeah, I needed time to formulate the question, and actually I think it is a little complementary to what Basti just asked. We noticed with Alba that if we, for example, if we don't eat at the same times for too many days, or if we don't meditate together for too many days, that there is something like a gap or something between us, that like separation is growing. And after we need to work to kind of go in the contrary direction. And I was curious if you could share a little about your ways to keep the right, level of unity.
Wonderful question. And I want to start by saying that for many years, at the end of every meditation, many years, I did this prayer that Yogananda gave for couples. I hope I can remember it, because I haven't done it for the past few years. Heavenly Father, keep me and my husband, or my partner, ever united on a physical, mental, and spiritual levels. I don't remember the rest of it. Oh, may we always be united by following thy perfect laws, the laws of God. I did it a lot. So even if you're not with your partner, somehow keep them in your aura, in the back of your mind. Keep your aura united. So there's always peace and harmony flowing, even if you're not together.
Okay, I think we have used up our time. So thank you all.
So much.
It's been our honor to be here with you, and we wish you all the best, Ananda Deutschland, for the remainder of this weekend.
Thank you.